Hello and welcome to The Woven Word. This is a series of programmes in which we consider some of Ulster's poets over previous centuries. Specifically, we're thinking about a group of writers known as the rhyming weavers or the weaver poets, who mostly flourished in the 18th and 19th centuries. Many of them were working in the linen industry, hence the name weaver poets, but not all of them worked at that. It's just a useful collective term. Their writing is very much the writing of ordinary working class folk. So it shines an interesting light for us on what it was like to be an ordinary person at that time in Ulster. Now, the series has been filmed in 360 degrees, and what that means is you can be part of the picture. If you're at home with your computer and mouse, try moving it around, and you'll see that you can look left and look right, you can look up and look down, you can look behind you or behind me. Or for a fully immersive experience, if you have a VR headset, put that on, and that'll be like you're right here with me, standing in the beautiful surroundings of Christ Church, Strabane, with the gorgeous stained glass windows all around us. It's a beautiful old building, and this is probably the church, not the exact building, but the congregation of which today's poet would have been a member. William Starrat, who was a teacher here in Strabane, born about 1700, probably died about 1768, and very much a member of the Church of Ireland. William Starrat is very important because he is probably the first poet to have his works published in Ulster-Scots in 1722. As well as being a school teacher, he calls himself a philomath, a lover of learning. And as well as teaching algebra and arithmetic and geometry, he was a land surveyor. So he would have travelled out all around the landscape here up in the northwest, mapping out estates for the landed gentry, cataloguing for them their assets, their buildings, their geography, and also, just because it was of interest to him, recording folk customs and local history and townland names. So his work as a land surveyor in the early 1700s is really very useful and very interesting. But as well as being a teacher then and a land surveyor, it's as a poet we're interested in him. In the early 1700s, there was almost a literary renaissance. And this was sparked by the writing of Allan Ramsay, who was a Lanarkshire editor and poet writing across in Scotland and using his own Scots language to express all of his ideas in poetry. This was obviously a source of inspiration to our William Starrat here in Strabane, and he wrote an epistle to Allan Ramsay and sent it to him in Scotland. It's a beautiful poem, and you're going to hear it read later in this episode by John Erskine. Allan Ramsay, very flattered, wrote back to him, and then William Starrat's poem was published as a broadsheet a few years later in 1725. You'll also find it in editions of Allan Ramsay's poetry as well, which is very interesting and very gratifying for William Starrat. Fast forward a few years then to about 1734, and we find another poem by William Starrat. This time it's an elegy on the much lamented quartermaster Bryce Blair, who died in Strabane. Now, this is a bit satirical because William Starrat was a member of the Church of Ireland. Bryce Blair, the quartermaster, he was responsible for giving out the Regium Donum, which was a sum of money given to Presbyterians. This was a very Ulster-Scots Presbyterian area, and our writer, William Starrat, he was Church of Ireland. At that time, the Church of Ireland were collecting tithes or a tenth from the Presbyterians in the area. So there was that little bit of friction going on amongst the churches. And there's William Starrat as a very important member of society who'd been given the freedom of various counties in this area. There he is in the thick of it. And in this elegy, he's kind of giving you very much the impression that Bryce Blair was a drunkard. It's less than flattering. Let's fast forward again then to 1753, when a wonderful little publication came out called the Ulster Miscellany. There's a copy of this in Belfast Linen Hall Library, and it's a collection of different poems, local poems, but in the back of it, there are 9 Scotch poems written in a lovely, dense Ulster Scots. It has been very convincingly argued recently that these, some or all of them, could well have been written by William Starrat. There are similarities in style, the timeline suits, they're set all around the Lagan area of South Donegal, just north of the River Foyle. It makes absolute sense that William Starrat could have been the author of some of these, and certainly they're well worth a read. Again, very pastoral in tone. And that pastoral theme brings us back to the poem you're now going to hear read for you by John Erskine. This is the one that's addressed to Allan Ramsay, and it takes on the idea that William Starrat is just a humble shepherd, and he's resting under a tree, his flock are all grazing on the hill beneath him, and he's taken out his little pipe and he's composing something to Allan Ramsay. It's very much a praise poem. It shows that William Starrat is very well educated because it makes all kinds of literary references, but it also goes through Allan Ramsay's poems, acknowledging them and acknowledging the significance of him writing in his own Scots tongue. William Starrat echoes that by writing in a dense Ulster-Scots. So you're going to hear words like oak for weak, herdsel for the little herd, the bield of the birk tree, that means the shelter of the birch tree. Cowrife collie, that's the wee shivering border collie that's helping him, to bring in the flock. But now the pair of them are cosily happed up, so cosily wrapped up in the shelter of the tree. You'll hear words like bawbees, which are coins, a hungry weam is a starving tummy, all these lovely words. And the words of the poem will appear on the screen as you look at it, and John reads. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can expand the description and jump further forward. So you'll hear the poem being read, but instead of the words on the screen, you'll see beautiful 360-degree photography, images taken all around this part of the Northwest, a landscape which may have been familiar to William Starrat, our Bard of Crochan. I hope you've enjoyed hearing more about him.
Epistle from Mr. William Starrat, teacher of mathematics at Strabane in Ireland, to Allan Ramsay. One day last week, I'll ne'er forget. I think I hear the hailstones rattling yet. On Crochan bus, my hersel took the lee, as ane would wish just beneath my ee. In the bield of yon old birk tree side, per cowrife collie whinged aneath my plaid. Recht toosily was set to ease my stumps, we'll hop we bunteth hose and twassel pumps. Sign on my 4 hours luncheon, chewed my cood. Sick kilter, pat me in a merry mood. My whistle, frae my blanket nook I drew, and lilted their twathy lines to you. Blaw up my heartstrings, ye Pierian quines, that gae the Grecian bards their bonny rhymes, and learn the Latin loons sick springs to play, as gars the world gang dancing to this day. In vain I seek your help, 'tis bootless toil we sick deed ass to muck a moorland soil. Gie me the muse that caws past ages back, and shows prude southern sangsters their mistake, that frae their Thames can fetch the laurel north, and big Parnassus on the Frith of Forth. Thy breast alane this gladsome guest does fill wi' strains that warm our hearts like cannel gill, and learns thee in thy umwhile gutcher's tongue the blithest lilts that e'er my lugs heard sung. Ramsay, forever live, for wha like you in deathless sang sick lifelike pictures drew, not he wha whilom wi' his harp could caw the dancing stains to big the Theban wa, nor he, shame fa's full head, as stories tell, could whistle back an old deed wife frae hell, nor e'en the loyal brooker o' bell trees was sang wi' hungry wame his want of fees, nor Habby's drone could wi' thy windpipe please, when in his wheel can clink thou mains the death o' lucky wood and spence a matchless skaith to Canagate. Say gash thy gabtrees gang, the carlins live forever in thy sang. Or when the country bridle thou pursues, to read the regal tully sets thy muse, Thy soothing sangs bring cankered carls to ease. Some lopes to lutter's pipe, some birls bob ease. But gin to graver notes thou tunes thy breath, and sangs per Sandy's grief for Addie's death. Or Matthew's loose, the lambs in consort may, and lonesome Rangwood yowls upon the brae. Good God, what tuneless heartstrings wouldna twang when love and beauty animates thy sang? Skies eke a beck when thou blaws up thy reed, and birchet's praise for clapping o' thy head. And when thou bids the pochties hour stand yon, the wandocht seems beneath thee on his throne. Now be my soul and I hae nocht behin, and weel a wat fause swearing as a sin. I'd rather hae thy pipe and twathy sheep than a' the gowd the monarch's coffers keep. Cooley, look out! The few we hae's gone wrong. This 17 ooks a haena played sae long. Ha, Crummy, ha! Truth, I maun quat my song. But lad, neist mirk, we'll tae the hen and drive, when in fresh litter they get split and rive. The roits will rest, and gin ye like my play, I'll whistle to ye a' the livelong day. Epistle from Mr. William Starrat, teacher of mathematics at Strabane in Ireland, to Allan Ramsay. One day last ook, I'll ne'er forget. I think I hear the hailstones rattling yet. On Crochan bus, my Herschel took the lee, as een would wish just beneath my ee. In the bield of yon old birk tree side, per Coulrife Coley whinged aneath my plaid. Recht toozily was set to ease my stumps, we'll hop we bunteth hose and twassel pumps. Sign on my 4 hours luncheon, chewed my cood. Sick kilter, pat me in a merry mood. My whistle frae my blanket nook I drew, and lilted their twathy lines to you. Blaw up my heartstrings, ye Pierian quines, that gae the Grecian bards their bonny rhymes, and learn the Latin loons sick springs to play, as gars the world gang dancing to this day. In vain I seek your help. 'Tis bootless toil we sick deed ask to muck a moorland soil. Gie me the muse that caws past ages back, and shows prude southern sangsters their mistake, that frae their Thames can fetch the laurel north, and big Parnassus on the Frith of Forth. Thy breast alane this gladsome guest does fill wi' strains that warm our hearts like cannel gill, and learns thee in thy umwhile gutcher's tongue the blithest lilts that e'er my lugs heard sung. Ramsay, forever live, for wha like you in deathless sang sick lifelike pictures drew. Not he wha whilom wi' his harp could caw the dancing stains to big the Theban wa. Nor he, shame fa's full head, as stories tell, could whistle back an old deed wife frae hell. Nor e'en the loyal brooker o' Beltrees wha sang wi' hungry wame his want of fees, nor Habby's drone could wi' thy windpipe please. When in his wheel can clink thou mains the death o' lucky wood and spence, a matchless skaith to Canagate. Say gash thy gabtrees gang, the carlins live forever in thy sang. Or when the country bridle thou pursues, to read the regal tully sets thy muse. Thy soothing sangs bring cankered carls to ease, some lopes to Lutter's pipe, some birls bobbies. But gin to graver notes thou tunes thy breath, and sangs per Sandy's grief for Addie's death, or Matthew's loss, the lambs in consort may, and lonesome Rangwood yowls upon the brae. Good God, what tuneless heartstrings wouldna twang when love and beauty animates thy sang? Skies eke a beck when thou blaws up thy reed, and birchet's praise for clapping o' thy head. And when thou bids the pochties hour stand yon, the wandocht seems beneath thee on his throne. Now be my soul and I hae nocht behin, and weel a wat fause swearing is a sin. I'd rather hae thy pipe and twathy sheep than a' the gowd the monarch's coffers keep. Cooley, look out! The few we hae's gone wrong. This 17 ooks I haena played sae long. Ha, Crummy, ha! Truth, I maun quat my song. But lad, neist mirk, we'll tae the hen and drive, when in fresh litter they get split and rive. The roits will rest, and gin ye like my play, I'll whistle to ye a' the livelong day.